So in my discovery sessions, I always ask for my clients' goals. And there's a really strategically important criteria that I place on these goals. And I'm going to explain to you why and an example of where that can be so critical. So one of the criteria that I'll ask my client to fulfill when they're sharing goals is that the goals that they're going to tell me about are goals that they're not already on their way to accomplish, that they're not already probably going to happen the way they want them to happen at least. Why do I ask for that criteria? Because a lot of the discovery sessions I run are with achievers. And what do achievers do? They achieve goals all the time. So usually the goals that they're actually about to accomplish, those are the ones that they're thinking about. Those are the ones that they're going to share with me as their coach. The problem is that doesn't add much value to them to talk about stuff they're already doing and that they're already achieving. It's much more valuable to work with them on things they truly desire. They're still goals, but they're not going to happen unless something really transforms. There's a lot of meat on that bone. So I'll give you an example. Client showed up today, super achiever, and I asked her for that criteria, and the goals that she shared with me were all professional goals that she's already on her way to achieving. She just wants to achieve them yesterday, so it's more like a time frame thing for her. So I asked her, it's like, don't you think you're pretty much going to achieve these things eventually? And she said, yeah. And I asked her, well, then in that case, let's just treat these like they're goals you're already going to achieve. And assuming that, then what would be things that you really do want that there's no way it's happening or it's very unlikely to happen anytime soon? And she started coming up with all these other goals around weight loss and buying a house and going on vacation, all these other goals that were completely separate from her professional career goals that she initially shared with me. And as we started to dig deeper, we realized that her whole focus was on professional achievement, so eventually she could be fulfilled, happy, and connected with the other goals that she shared with me only after I really held her accountable to meeting that criteria that I asked for, which uncovered a whole lot more psychological barriers for her that we never would have discussed had I not placed that criteria on her goals that she shared, and had I not pressed her on that and challenged her on digging deep for goals that were nowhere in sight for her. That was a transformational discovery session for one big reason, because of the goals that I asked her for and making sure we met that criteria before we moved on to any coaching. The rest was easy compared to prying the truth from my achiever client for that session. So consider adding this criteria of whatever goals that your client shares with you, that they're goals that they're not already accomplishing, that they're not already naturally on their way to, and that's probably not going to happen unless something really transforms, but they still want these goals. They still have a deep desire for them. They're still top priority goals that aren't going to happen naturally. And then let that open the door to adding massive value, especially during a discovery session.